Hello, Melissa. Can you hear me? This is Dave Mansell.
I sure can. How's it going, Dave?
Yeah. Oh, really good. I've got three monitors going and two computers, so I'm like, which mouse do I use? So anyway, I think it's all working fine now. I'm not sure who uh, is all in our room because I don't see that. Do you see? Oh, here we go. I just have to push the right buttons. And let's see, are you all set on your end, Melissa?
We are. We're
You
ready to
are.
get started.
Well, let's get started then. Fantastic. Well, again, hello and welcome to this session. This is Dave Mansell again with the Department of Financial Institution. It's my honor to introduce our next presenters. Royal Credit Union has been a leader in financial education for over 25 years. Royal currently has 29 student-run credit union branches in schools across Wisconsin and Minnesota. 29, that's amazing. Their signature programs include an elementary school takeover day, a middle school future US of Royals financial education entrepreneurs called FUSE program, and a high school test drive, next stop reality fair. And that's a little bit, I think, what we'll be talking today. Melissa Jansen and Deb Paulson have been a part of Royal's financial education department for the past 4 years. Melissa previously served as a program director for the Boys and Girls Club and protective behavior education for Chippewa County, and a high school English teacher. Prior to joining Royal, Deb has been a community education coordinator for the Unity School District in Balsam Lake. And they did something really amazing when we all were sent home to learn. We had these things called reality days that people would show up to in person. How do you do that virtually? So those are some of the things I think Melissa and Deb will be talking about today. Take it away, Melissa and Deb.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, so we're really excited to be here to talk to you all. We were going to do some introductions, but I think, Dave, you did a fantastic job introducing us. So we'll just go on and get things started here. So the first thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to make this presentation fun and engaging for you as well. As educators, you know how important that is, and you guys have been on screens all the time. So feel free to grab your cell phones because we are going to be asking you to interact along with us. And the way that you will be interacting with us is you'll go to menti.com. I'm just curious, how many of you have used Mentimeter in your classrooms? Give a little thumbs up emoji if you've used Mentimeter. It's a new tool that we found that's been fun for us in this new virtual learning environment to be engaging with our participants. So you'll go to Menti and you'll enter that code there. But a little bit about what's on the agenda today. We're going to start out with you guys getting a chance to share us a little bit about your experience facilitating reality fairs or participating in reality fairs. Then Deb's going to do an overview of our test drive program and how it got started and a little bit of our history. And then we'll have some fun trivia for you guys to participate in. Then I will go into a demonstration of what our new test drive digital program really looks like. We'll finish up our trivia and then we'll have time for questions. So let's get started. So the first thing, all right, so you should all see this now if you've gotten that code entered in there. So which of the following types of reality fair events have you participated in? And so you can select multiple ones. So if you've done both an in-person one and a classroom one, you can submit multiple things in there. So. Perfect. Oh, somebody's done a classroom one. Lots of the big in-person events, which is fantastic. Those are our favorite types of events because that's when you actually get to bring in those volunteers from around the community, have those meaningful conversations with students, and there's just that energy and that buzz in the room where students are just kind of feeling the stress of maintaining that budget and comparing what's going on with their families. So those are definitely our favorites too. So I'm not surprised to see that that's where a lot of people are. Interesting. So it looks like nobody has had a virtual reality fair. So hopefully this is a great option that you guys can bring to your students. So next question is what challenges have you faced bringing reality fairs to your students? So you can just type in your answer and they'll show up there. Your names won't show up, so don't be worried that, feel free to be open and honest with your feedback. It's not going to show your name at all on here. Yeah. Volunteers and time. It's a lot with our large reality fairs that we do. We usually have 75 to 80 volunteers at those events. So yeah, that is tough. Keeping information current. Planning and coordinating, scheduling, timing. Yep. Perfect. So yeah, a lot of these reasons are why Royal Credit Union created our reality fair programs, because we know the value of reality fair events for students, but we know that they're also a lot of work, and you as educators already have so much on your plates. And so one question that will help us as we move forward here is we're all in a new environment right now. So how are you connecting with your students virtually? What platforms are you using? So I know that I'm based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. They use Canvas as their learning management system. Some use Google Classrooms. If you use multiple learning management systems, go ahead and type that in there. So what is your district using? Schoology. I haven't heard of that one. That's a new one for me. I'll have to look into that. All of these Google Classrooms are making my heart really happy because that is where our Test Drive digital platform is hosted in currently. However, we are working on alternate delivery options as well. And so that's why we're asking this question. But for a lot of you, this should be pretty easy for you to get connected with us. So wonderful. So, all right. Well, Deb, you want to take it away with a little bit of background about Test Drive and what it is?
Yes, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are very excited about our Test Drive Next Stop Reality program, so much so that we have created 4 different variations of it. So to let you know a little bit about the history about how it all got started, we developed it in 2016 in partnership with the Barron County Financial Coalition. And this was because there was a need identified for students in rural schools who didn't have the opportunities to participate in reality fairs. And like a lot of you said, finding enough volunteers is a problem. So definitely with those smaller schools, that was an issue, but there was a wonderful partnership that was developed and a lot of community volunteers. And through that, we were able to pull off the event. 327 students from 9 different schools were able to participate in that first event. And from there, we just expanded it. So since 2016, we've reached over 3,700 students. We have worked with with 82 teachers and over 1,000 volunteers. And like Melissa said, we normally have 75 to 80 volunteers that have to work at an event, and that is usually hosting upwards of 300 students. We did have our last reality fair that we hosted before the pandemic hit was at Eden Prairie High School. And I believe we had 350 students that participated that day and about 100 volunteers. So it's a huge undertaking, but well worth it, obviously. And besides Eden Prairie High School, which is in the metro in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, In Wisconsin, we've hosted events in Barron, Eau Claire, and Chippewa counties. And in all, we have been able to work with 26 high schools. So not everybody can host a large event, and because of that, we created Test Drive Express in 2018. And we call it Express because it's a tabletop version. It's students can get through it faster in their classroom with their teachers. And we go in and facilitate that with them, but work with the teachers as well, but we bring it right to the classroom. So typically it's 20 to 30 students at one time that are going through it. And that's a pretty successful size class to do. We've done 13 different Test Drive Express events, and we've reached 213 students in 5 different locations. And then we also have Test Drive Mobile. And so Test Drive Mobile is something that we are able to do with students that want to still participate in an in-person reality fair, but it's a smaller group. So more like 75 to 100 students. 100 is probably the most that you want to have going through that. So in 2019, we had a grant with the National Credit Union Foundation that allowed us to bring this program to students. And we, what you do is it's an app that's on their mobile device. So they can either use a smartphone or we have iPads too that we have available to take to places where we're doing it so that students, if they don't have a device, they can use that. But they still go around and visit stations and interact with volunteers, but we only have 10 stations total with this. So you don't need as many volunteers, and they're still able to see what a reality fair is all about. We were able to partner with Upward Bound, which is a program that was hosting 50 students from 6 different schools across the state, and we're able to do that successfully with them. So with the onset of COVID-19, unfortunately, we had several in-person events that had to be canceled. And so we wanted to come up with a solution to still allow students to be able to have that experience, but in the virtual environment. So last spring, we took our Test Drive Express curriculum and turned it into Test Drive Digital. And we were able to pilot that in May with some schools. We actually worked with 6 different schools. We were able to serve 114 students with this program, and then realized after the post-test, they were able to give us comments, and 100% of the students felt that it was a valuable experience. And we realized that going forward, there would be much more, a higher need for this and more schools asking about it. So we took the summer to really dive into this program that we initially created in a 3-week time period, and just really expanded upon the lessons. We added in 3 new lessons that we hadn't had before, that we had gotten feedback that teachers thought would be very valuable, including like a credit lesson. And so we were able to really develop this curriculum much more fully, have professionally developed videos created so that it's much more engaging for students. And we're super excited now to have this program to offer. So when we did the pilot in May, and like I mentioned, we had a post-test where students were able to give us some feedback. We have just a few quotes that from comments that they had given us. And one student said that, "I learned there's more to pay for than people think." And another said, "You'll have to sacrifice some things you enjoy just to stay within your budget." And then we had this quote from one of the teachers that we partnered with, and she said, "This was the perfect ending to our online financial literacy unit. Thank you for adapting the simulation." So another thing that we want to point out about Test Drive Digital, is that when we created it, we kept the new state standards in mind. And so the materials that are covered in this cover all 6 strands outlined in the new standards. And especially we feel that this addresses that shifting from the what do you want to be when you grow up mentality to more of a financial mindset, where we're helping them develop those mental habits that are needed to address financial decisions successfully.
Perfect. Well, great job, Deb, giving the summary of our test drive programs. I know you're probably all really excited about jumping into seeing what the test drive digital looks like, but first we're going to do a little contest for you all. And so in just a second in Menti, you're going to see that a contest is going to start. It's going to give you a randomly assigned name. You can keep that randomly assigned name, or if you want to change it to something else, feel free to do so. It is a timed quiz. So the faster you answer, the more points you're going to earn. You're only going to have 15 seconds to answer each question. And so this is going to be a 2-part contest. We're going to do 4 questions now, and then we're going to have the demonstration, and then we'll follow up with 4 questions later. And then the prizes are going to be Amazon gift cards for you all. So we highly suggest that you use those prizes for some self-care. You've earned it, living in this crazy world and doing all you have for your students. And so first place will get $50, second place $25, and third place will get a $10 certificate. So we'll get ready here. We'll wait for some players to join. Oh, looks like we're all ready and hopping in. Give one more second to see if anybody else wants to play in. I like the volcano. I haven't seen that one before. That's a fun one. So, all right, we'll get started. I'm going to start the countdown. Everybody ready? All right, here we go. Very good. Yes, not entrepreneurship and bankruptcy. It was not one of those. So that was one of those tricky where it was the not. Oh, look like Skids is in the lead here. Bodie McBoatface is in second place. Congratulations. All right, let's move on to the next question. Very good. That one was a tricky one because we put the is instead of the is not. So we tried to get you that way with that one. See, did Skids keep the lead? Oh, yep, they're holding strong. Oh, no, that was just the points. They were fast, but still Frosty popped up there, bumped out Bodie McBoatface. All right, so the next questions are going to see if you're paying attention to what Deb was talking about. So here we go. Hey, everybody got that one right. Although I really like that name that Deb came up with. I think we might have to, if we had a 5th test drive event, that could be a good one for us to have. All right, that's our leaderboard. ET was the fastest on that one though. Good job, ET. All right, last question for this round. We really had to be paying attention for this one. And you all were. Great job. That's surprised. I'm surprised by that. Awesome. All right. So looks like Skids, Frosty, and Ashley are still in the, still in the lead here. But it's anybody's game. We've got 4 more questions, so stay tuned. All right. So now we're going to switch on to a little demonstration of the Google Classrooms here. So hold on, I just need to move my bar here because it's in the way. All right, pull this up. There we go. All right, so for those of you that haven't used Google Classrooms with your students before, it's really simple. So they just log into Google and it's one of the Google apps here. So if you just kind of scroll down, you can see that there's Google Classroom here. And so then all of the classes that student is enrolled in would show up here. So we've already enrolled this example student in our classroom, but if this was a new student who is just joining, you can either email them a link or a code. So you can send them a direct link in the email, or you can just have a code. So if you're wanting to teach this program synchronously and you just want to pull up the code on your shared screen, you do that, and the student just clicks join class here and enters in that class code right there, and it'll make the class for them. It takes just a couple seconds for that to get loaded. So it's very user-friendly. Like I said, we were really looking around and trying to figure out what platform to deliver our test drive digital program through. And we landed on Google because even if a teacher hadn't necessarily used it in their classroom, most teachers and students have had some interaction with Google in their personal life. So it's something that should have been pretty user-friendly. So when the student logs in to the classroom, this is the first page that they will see, and they'll watch this getting started video. Now, the getting started video will walk them through the background of the event, the purpose, why we're having them participate in this, and then it'll also show them how to navigate the classroom. So almost all of their work is going to be found actually here under the Classworks tab. And so the students will just start at the top and work their way down. So the first thing that the students are asked to do is to take a short little pre-test. This just helps us to measure learning gains and attitudinal changes of the students. So it's very simple little quiz for them to get started. And then the next thing that they get to move on to is their college and career search. So they'll click on that, and then they'll click the click link here, and it'll open up in a new tab for them. That is discussed in that introduction video, so they get to see a demonstration of this, so they know that this is going to open up in that new tab. And so then they can select the level of higher education that they're planning on pursuing. So maybe they're not planning on going on to higher education, they're just going to click high school diploma. Maybe they are deciding that, yep, I want to go on and I want to get a bachelor's degree. So when they click next, they'll get to choose from a list of careers that you can get with that level of education. So every level that you suggest, the high school diploma careers are going to be different than the bachelor's degrees careers. The doctorate degrees are going to be different than the bachelor degree. So this is the list that we have for the bachelor's. So we don't have obviously every single career listed, but hopefully they can find something that is of interest to them or something that's in a field that's related to what they're planning on pursuing. So I'm going to pick the marketing specialist, and then I click next, and a career card appears. And so what they'll see is what their gross annual salary is. And so we calculated this using information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We took the 25th percentile and kind of looked in that metro area for that salary. The other pieces on this career card are randomly assigned. So just like in real life, some students might have parents that are able to help them pay for college. Some students might not. Some students might take out more student loans. Some students might not. So the student loan amount is random for every student. Another thing that is random is their family status. So in this career card, you can see that I am married. I have a child named Amelia who's 11 months old, and my spouse is a library technician. So there will be some students that are single, some students that have children. There'll even be a few people that are single parents in this simulation, just to kind of keep things interesting. So the next step that the students are asked to do is to go back to their classwork tab and open their income and transaction log. So this is the document that they're going to be using to track all of their purchases throughout the simulation. And so they'll open that up. You can see here that I've already entered this information into our income and transaction log before we got started. We did that for two reasons. One, we wanted to save time, but we also wanted to show you that this is something that the students can work on over a course of time. It's not like they have to sit down and do everything in one setting. All of their progress will be saved in this document. So the only thing that they have to fill in right now is this part up here that is in blue. This down here, their total net monthly income, will be calculated for them. So in that introduction video, we go over that. We talk about taxes and we talk about what's going on in this spreadsheet for them, but we just didn't want to have them have the obstacle of doing the tax calculations themselves. And so it's really a great tool because it adjusts things automatically. So if you can see, keep your eyes down here on the pink here. So if I switch that to being single, you'll see that it'll adjust my tax deductions there. So if I have a child, they'll adjust that so that is really great with that. Also, you know, if I change these totals, maybe my spouse got a raise, yay. That adjusts that for them as well. So it's really user friendly. You know, the goal of this is to have them experience a month of budgeting. And so there are two tabs to this document. There's this income tab, and then there's the transaction log. And so you can see here that the total monthly net income is calculated for them automatically. So this automatically populates over here. And as they go, they will just enter in their description. So let's say I had to pay my rent and my rent was $900. You'll see that that'll adjust the remaining balance for them, but it right there in there too. So really user-friendly for the students. So you're probably wondering, how do they make these purchase decisions? How do they know what they're spending their money on? That comes in here in the lessons. So they start at the top and work their way down. We do have it noted here that there are lessons 1 through 13. Just the way the Google Classroom is set up, to get all of the 13 lessons, you'll have to click view more. But once the student clicks view more, once it saves that for them. So the next time they log in, all 13 will be showing there for them. And so Deb and I wanted to take just a second to just show you an example of what one of the videos looks like, just so you can kind of get an idea. So we'll show you the transportation. So click here.
Transportation. There are many different things to consider when choosing transportation. First of all, what is your family status? Do you have a spouse or children? If so, you may want to consider a larger vehicle. Think about what's important to you. Do you need to haul or tow things? Do you like faster cars? Do you prefer trucks? Are you environmentally conscious? Do you plan to do a lot of driving? If so, you may want to consider a more fuel-efficient vehicle and possibly one with fewer miles on it. This also leads to the question of whether or not you want a new or used vehicle. Some of the pros of purchasing a new vehicle are that it comes with a warranty. No one else has ever driven it, it's stylish, and it should have fewer mechanical problems. However, a new vehicle comes with a much higher price tag, and it loses about 11% of its value the moment that you drive it off the lot. And after 1 year, your new car will probably be worth about 20% less than what you bought it for. Some of the pros of buying a used vehicle are that it has a lower price tag and less depreciation. If you are buying a used vehicle from a dealership, they usually inspect and certify them before listing them for sale, and you can purchase an extended warranty if you choose. Be careful when buying used cars from a private party. These are as-is transactions, meaning that the vehicle is sold in its present condition, and the seller won't be held responsible for issues and repairs down the line. Of course, you want to be sure that you can afford the monthly payment of your vehicle without having to sacrifice other things in your budget. Notice that there is a difference in the length of your loan based on whether you are buying a new or used car. You pay longer on a new car, 72 months, than you do on a loan for a used car, 60 months. This helps to make your monthly payment more affordable, but keep in mind that you will have to pay on a new vehicle a year longer than you would on a used one. Leasing is another option for acquiring a vehicle. When you lease a car, you make a small down payment followed by monthly payments for the term of the lease, which is typically 2 to 4 years. You do not own the vehicle, and the number of miles that you can put on the car will likely be limited. When the term expires, you return the car. It's important to take good care of the car during the lease, as you could be charged for damages or for going over your mileage limit. For this exercise, we will not include a leasing option. Take some time to look over the new and used vehicle options, pausing the video as needed to select the one that is best for you. If you are married, you will also have to select a transportation option for your spouse. Having reliable, round-the-clock transportation is important, so at least one of your transportation purchases needs to be from the list of new and used vehicles. However, if your family requires a second vehicle, you may choose one option from the second vehicle list. Please note that the prices listed not only cover the cost of the vehicle loan payment, but also reflect your monthly insurance premium and fuel costs. Your credit score will have a big impact on your transportation decision. If you have a lower credit score, you will not be approved for a new car loan and can only choose from the used car options. You will also have to pay a higher monthly price, as your low score will increase your interest rate and insurance cost. Remember, your driving record can also impact the amount you have to pay for insurance each month, so be sure to slow down and pay attention while driving. Once you have chosen your transportation, enter the amount for each vehicle on your transaction log.
So that's a little taste of what the videos look like. That's kind of one of our longer videos. So the videos, none of the videos, they're right around 5 minutes. That one was 4 minutes. There are some that are shorter, but we think that it should take the students about an hour and a half to, if they just sit down and go through it all, to 2 hours to get through everything. It all depends on the student, as you know. You heard a little bit about the credit score in there. And so a credit score is another thing that's kind of fun, and we randomly assign it to the students. So they watch the credit video and get feedback, and then they get the opportunity to randomly get their credit score. And so Deb, would you mind playing along with me for this one?
Oh, sure. I'd love to.
All right. So it's just fun and kind of a silly way to randomly assign this to them. So Deb, does pineapple belong on pizza? Yes, no, or
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It does. It says wrong. Pineapple does not belong on pizza. Just kidding. Keep going though. What's your favorite Disney movie?
Frozen.
Frozen. All right. And then pick a number, any number.
7.
7. And ooh, Deb, too bad. You got the fair credit score. And so the students would then be instructed just to go back to their income and transaction log. And on that income tab there's a spot for them to record that credit score there, because they'll need it for reference when they are doing their transportation and housing purchases for sure. So that's just a fun way. We kind of picked that random way to do it because, as you guys know, students love those little quizzes where you get to find out things about yourself. So that was a good way to keep it random and keep it fair. There's many different pathways that the students can get their credit score through that. Another fun thing, last thing that I want to show you here is we do have some other kind of random life events that will show up for the students. And so this one is speed bumps. So this is going to be, unfortunately, something unexpected that is going to affect my budget. So let's see what it is. $100. Oh no, my family is visiting for the week. I got to buy extra groceries. And so they would go in and then add that to their transaction log as well. So once the student has gone through and completed all of their purchases, they'll go and they'll take that post test. Now, the first question that you'll notice on that post test is, have you turned in your income and transaction log? If not, go back and do so. And so while in the introduction video, we do tell them that they need to turn in that income and transaction log, we know that a lot of them might forget how to do that. And so the way that they do that is they just go back up here to where the assignment was, and they click view assignment. And if they're all set, they can just click turn it in. It'll ask me if I'm for sure ready to turn it in. Go right ahead, and it will submit that document to my teacher. If for some reason I realize that I didn't actually want to turn it in, you can click unsubmit and it'll send it right back to you instantly. But I'm set, I'm done, I'm turning it in for the day. So that is kind of the student view of everything. I do want to take just one quick second to show you all about the what the teacher kind of experience is with this. So I'm just gonna switch out of here and I'm gonna switch to my teacher here. So as you can see here, you can create multiple classrooms. So let's pretend that I had 4 different sections of personal finance. We can create you different classrooms for each of your different sections. We can work with you or you could do this independently to change the colors and things like that so that you know which one's which a little bit easier for you to look at. So we were just in our regular test drive digital. So once the classroom is built, it looks very similar to what the students see. We've got the classwork tab here, but when you start clicking on things, that's when you realize that things are going to look a little bit different. So I can click here on the income and transaction log and I can see, oh, what's my progress? And so I can see, oh, look at that. One of the students turned it in. I wonder which one of my amazing students turned in their assignment. So I can go back here and I could go to grades and that would show me here a list of who turned things in. So that's one way that I could access it. Or you can go to people. So, you know, my example student, they turn theirs in, so I can click on that and see their income and transaction log that will show up. But what I want to show you here is that you actually can see your students' work even before they've turned it in. So if you look here, you can see that Melissa Jansen, she hasn't turned in her income and transaction log yet. But you know, we were doing this class synchronously and she shut off her webcam and I don't think she was really working on it. So I want to look and see if she was really working on her income and transaction log when she was supposed to. So I'll go and I'll click and I'll open that up and it says here that she put CEO and that she makes $1 million and that she doesn't need any school and that her spouse is going to make $10,000 a month. So I can promise you those are not any options that would have shown up in the classroom. So I could go in and see this and I could maybe have a conversation with Melissa about making sure she's taken this experience seriously and reminding her that this will impact her grade. So that's just another neat feature. Last thing that I want to show you from the teacher perspective is this classroom's already built. All of the assignments were posted at once. So that was kind of a design if you want to just kind of open this up to your students and say, hey, You've got a week to complete the test drive digital simulation. Make sure you get those income and transaction logs turned in by the end of the week. This is one that isn't quite set up yet, so I haven't posted those assignments yet. So maybe I want this to be something that carries out as a month-long simulation. So I want to assign things different weeks, a different video each week. That's really easy to do. So you just click on the lesson here, and then you click edit material, and then you click up here where it says post. When do I want to post this? And so I could post it right now, and it would go live right now and go out to my students right now, or I could schedule it. So I could schedule it and I could say, nope, I want this one to go out next in 2 weeks. It's going to go out on the 10th. So I schedule that, hit schedule, and it'll schedule that to post on that day at 8 a.m. You can adjust the time there too. So very user friendly for you all. But like I said, we do have some alternate delivery options available. So I know you probably have some questions, but before we get to your questions, we've got to wrap up this trivia and see if you're listening to that presentation. So get your phones ready, get logged in here. All right. We start the countdown. So hope you got your phones unlocked and are looking down. Here we go. Yes, you can create multiple classrooms. Well, Bodie McBoatface was our fastest on that one. All right.
That's correct. It's not a lesson included. However, when we hold our test drive next stop reality in-person fairs, that is a question that comes up a lot with students is there an adoption agency somewhere? I want to sell my child or get rid of my child. They're way too expensive.
Yep, definitely. All right, last question. Oh, we got 2 more, sorry. I wonder if my high school students know what a trapper keeper is. I don't think so.
I'm surprised you know what a trapper keeper is.
I
hope everyone gets this right.
It was in the description, but we didn't say it out loud. So it's a little bit of a trick. Yeah, it is. It's Royal Credit Union always offers all of our financial education materials for free to the communities that we serve. All right. Perfect. All right. So it looks like Skids took home the first place there. Frosty took home second place. All right, and Ashley took home third place. So you'll be getting those certificates in the mail for you all. So here is how you are going to let us know that you were the winner. All right. So we have a little jot form link, but that is not just for the winners. It's actually for all of you because we have a bonus contest. All right. So with that jot form link that I just sent out, it's a multi-purpose tool for us. So A, it's going to let us know who won our contest. B, it's a place for you guys to give us feedback. So any questions or comments or things of improvement that you saw, it's also a way for you to let us know if you're interested in bringing this to your students. And so if you take the time to fill that out, you will get entered into a drawing for another $25 gift certificate.
Yay. All right. So just to kind of wrap things up with our presentation, if you have watched this and you're interested and want to partner with us to bring it to your students, we would love to work with you. You can reach out to us we have an email specifically to help people with their test drive program. So that's testdrive@rcu.org. Right now, what we are planning to do is pilot this program. So we really just in this last week put the finishing touches on this program. So we are so excited about it. But before we release it to the masses, we have a few select schools that we've partnered with in the past that we are going to pilot this with in November and December and just make sure that it's ready to roll, all the kinks are worked out of it. And that we can, really work with them if there are some issues that we need to sort out. But we're hoping that won't be the case. But after that, the plan is to release this to all teachers in the state of Wisconsin and beyond, actually. And that would be starting in January 2021. So in just a couple of months, really, this would be available for you to bring to your students. I believe that there will be a link set up shortly on the DPI website where you can click on, you can get more information about it, but also to reach out to us and let us know that you want to run this with your students. So did I miss anything, Melissa?
No, I think that's it. We've also got Jen with us. So Jen is actually, she's waving there. Jen McHugh is actually both, she is our VP of Community Engagement at Royal Credit Union. She's both Deb and my leader. And so she's also here to help answer any questions that Deb and I might forget as well. So I'm going to stop my share here and just open it up for questions. What thoughts do you have? What questions do you have?
And you did have I just wanted to chime in. You had a question chatted in from Amy about, she says, we typically have all of our juniors and seniors to the reality check event. Can this accommodate 500 students?
Yes, thanks for pointing that out, Jen. Absolutely, this can accommodate as many students as you need it to. The great thing about this is that it's a reality fair without volunteers and other resources needed. So, we are working on our end to help with any of the technical aspects that if you have any difficulties, but really, once you get your classroom set up, you should be able to run it with as many students as you want.
There's not a limit to the number of students that we have in a classroom. So if you weren't doing this for grades, you were just doing it as a learning experience and you wanted to have all your students in one classroom, we could do that for you. Or we can make the separate groups for each section, maybe by homerooms or things like that. Might be a good solution.
And I know we're reaching the end of our time, but I just wanted to say quickly, we've had a lot of support from DFI and DPI. We've been able to pull in some of the best and brightest minds in financial literacy and capability in the state, thanks to our connections with Dave and his team and the Governor's Council on financial literacy. So we really feel good about this. And, it's part of our credit union's mission to provide financial education and access to all. And, you know, thanks to the virtual delivery platform, we don't have to be concerned with borders. So we are excited about offering this to people throughout our state and beyond if they're interested.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough. Jen, thanks for popping in or turning on your video. Melissa and Deb, thank you for an excellent presentation and for the amazing work you guys have done so quickly. And the quality is just, I just think it's miraculous you were able to pull it off. And so, and it's so generous of Royal Credit Union to offer this for free to everyone. It's a great tool, especially for these times. I know there's a lot of buzz about this. We're getting email at DFI, and you know, even from other states that have already been hearing about this. So hats off to you for doing such a tremendous job and stepping up and providing this to the public. That's just phenomenal. So with that, I do have to defend our break. We have about 9 minutes before or 8, I guess, before we head over to the luncheon. We have a special program for that, and we have 2 more sessions after lunch too. So stay tuned. Thank you again. Take care. We'll see you in a bit.
Everybody.
Thank you.